Here it is. We pushed above the 50 level. We're pushing right back down, right down to it right now on the RSI as we pushed above the 50. Tried to get a 50-50 bullish signal. Over here, we dropped below the 50 on the price chart, and then we dropped below the 50 on the, let me just get this up right here. We dropped below the 50 on the RSI. So you had a 50-50 sell signal. The 50s acted as resistance. The pull-ups to the 50 have been where, and rallying towards it have been where we have seen the RSI turn right back down. So right now we're above the 10 and 20 period moving average, but Bitcoin rallied. We were up like 2%, over 2%, and then we gave it back and ended up with a topping tail in the form of a possible shooting star. If that's the case, again, we could get a bigger pullback still and frustrate everybody even more. If you have been on social media, you can see that people are just extremely frustrated right now. They're tired of waiting. I mean, we had this drop, and then, we've been in this trading range, just really going sideways here. Ever since February, we got the drop, and then we just we tried to get out of this range, and then we moved back into it. We've been in this range for a very long time. Right now, getting rejection at the trend line, getting rejection at the 50. I told you we might try to pull back before breaking out, but I do believe get a breakout. I had a bunch of signals start turning bullish when we got above the trend line, and by the close, those signals, those bullish signals, went away. So again, we need to clear the trend line. We'll be watching to see if we get a deeper pullback. I think the low is likely going to hold. The risk is we go down to the 2022 trend line and below 74,000, which this was the low at 74,000 around Bitcoin's average price there, drop below 74,000, but then get back above it. I think this low is likely going to hold with the diversions. I think that this is going to set up right now a higher low. So again, watching to see, are we just building momentum, or do we get a bigger pullback right now? Do we get a bigger pullback for a higher low and then go on our way, or stay above the 20 period and consolidate and then go on our way and be able to do that? Or risk is we come back and we take out this low. Again, I am becoming more and more convinced that that's going to be less likely. It's still possible, but I think it's less likely now. I think our bullish divergences on the MACD and the RSI are going to play out. MACD needs to go into positive territory. So again, we'll see what happens if we get a bigger pullback or not. Again, we got this death cross, and Bitcoin bottomed out surrounding that death cross. And again, oftentimes you'll bottom out just before it or just after it. Other times can lead to a bear market if we can't get above these levels. My guess is we are going to get above these levels. But then we got to get back above the pink line right here, which is the 100 period. You got to get above the 50 and the 200. The black line's at the 200. The green line here is at 50. We've had that death cross, the 50 crossing below the 200. Now we have the pink line. If we can clear this level and get it back above the 200, you got to get back above the 100 period. Bitcoin follows the 100 period moving average. When you take it out, you're coming back and testing the 200. Actually moved all the way down to Bitcoin's average price. So again, get back above these levels to turn it around. Lose this area, that's extremely bearish. You drop below 74,000, you can't get above it, that's bearish. You bounce here, that's bullish, but you got to get back above the 100 period moving average here. That's the pink line in order to resume the advance and end the selling. This bull flag going into the 50 period in the weekly time frame and the 50-week moving average and Bitcoin's average price right here, that line right there. Major support at the 74,000 area. Also, it's horizontal support from the March high, as I've talked about. Now, we are 1 hour into the Tuesday session. Bitcoin is down 0.60% after getting a possible topping tail at the trend line of resistance. We tried to get above it. It failed. We got a topping tail there. So again, do we pull back? The 10 period, if we continue to see it rise, is going to cross above the 20 period moving average in a bullish cross. We'll see. been crisscrossing back and forth, really just showing this sideways move in our double bottom pattern. We have a double bottom pattern. I've talked about this at great length and detail. Real fast, more about that in a second. We had a rally of over 2%. We ended down 1.06% for the session. So we ended up giving back all of the rally and going negative. And then right now we're down again just under 0.5% at the moment. Getting rejection at the 50, the green line, and the trend line. Got to clear these levels, get back above the 200, the black line, to turn this around. Bitcoin has the double bottom pattern, as I've talked about. You have the low here, and we had a little one over here, didn't play out. It was not confirmed, but you have one here, and you have one right here. These lows, these bottoms, and then the confirmation line is right here, which this is the January low. This is where resistance has been. So we got rejection there, we got rejection there. Got to be able to clear that. If you do, you're going to confirm a double bottom pattern. You'll be breaking out of the downward trend line. And it very well could be that if we break out, that we come up into the 100 period, come up into this next level of resistance up here, this resistance zone here, in the mid 90,000 area and the low 90,000 area. This range right in here, we come up here or pull back deeper and then come up here, and then we end up back testing. So the best moves don't back test, but if we do end up breaking out, you want to be watching to see if we end up back testing. So do we, one, get a breakout that back test? Do we back first? Do we consolidate, build momentum, and then go higher? We'll be watching to see how it unfolds. But again, you got a potential double bottom pattern here. The double bottom, what measures, let's see, our high right here is at the 88,000 area, this level up here. Our low down here, 74,000. So you're looking at about 14,250 or so, give or take. The measurement of the double bottom pattern would take us back up to the 100, just under 103,000, right about 102,900, 950, right in that range. So just under 103,000, the double bottom pattern is the minimum objective target. Now again, this is likely a major bottom if the support levels can hold. So we'll be watching that. Let's take a look at a couple of the charts. Before we leave this one, we're now down about 1/4%. And again, we're going to be watching, can we clear this? You know, I had some signals that started turning bullish. An oscillator started turning bullish when we tried to break out, but then it failed. So we'll be watching that. You have this bull flag going into Bitcoin's average price and our 50-week moving average. We've got positive things going on here. We've got momentum in positive territory. We've got a bullish divergence here. We had one over here. Now we have this larger one right here, and it's a positive territory. Momentum is, so that's a positive sign. We've had these bullish signals that's given us these green bars now. We've seen that change. Here we're seeing the impulse line still blue at the moment. Got that turning back to green. We got the background turning back to green. So again, we've got to be able to turn things around here. We got to clear this cloud right here. We're stalling at it and try to break the downward trend and get back above the 200 period moving average. So positive things, but we still may be at risk of a bigger pullback. A reversal of conditions, a bullish momentum reversal of conditions with the Bitcoin futures, as I mentioned, but able to break the downward trend line. Same thing here. We've seen momentum turn bullish, momentum line turn bullish. The impulse line is bullish. We have a bullish reversal of conditions. We saw the bottoming signals. Then we saw the momentum signals begin to turn bullish. I told you about that. Now we're seeing here the bars turn back to green. They got to stay that way. We got to be able to clear the trend line. We got to be able to clear the 200 period if we're going to turn this around right here and now. Otherwise, there's more work to be done, and we'll end up pulling back. The risk is we take this level out. My guess is we're going to have that low likely hold. Again, even though we've had the bottoming signals and momentum turn, balance of power is still negative. In order to turn it around, we got to get a break of the downward trend line, get above the 200 period, the black line, and be able to see the balance of power go positive. So again, in order for these signals to play out and mark a reversal, very similar signals that we had at this low right here in March, and the low over here but those just were counter trend moves. Again, the momentum line ended up going back to red. Now the momentum line's bullish again. So again, we could get a bigger move and break the downward trend line. I think that's going to be the case. And I think you got a good shot of that happening this week. Bottoming signals first, then the momentum signal and other momentum signals change. Now we need to see trend signals begin to all change. That will confirm a bottom. We've had Bitcoin momentum. We have bottoming signals and we had momentum flip and a couple of trend signals have, but we need more. We need to see more trending signals flip. Just a few of them did. But again, the Bitcoin futures got a bullish reversal of conditions here, but we need to break the downward trend line. We're stalling at the trend line here with Bitcoin futures at our 50-period moving average. Bitcoin moved up just above the 50 period, got rejection there. So again, if the cloud could remain green, we can go higher. If we could get the oscillator in positive territory, the MACD in positive territory, the risk is we get a higher low. Take out this low again. I believe the bottom is in on Bitcoin. I don't think that's likely going to be the case. To break the downtrend in order to turn that around. Again, if China and the United States move into negotiations, which again, they've both expressed a willingness to do so. A big rally if that ends up happening. A short trading week for the stock market. The stock market will be closed on Good Friday. So again, we'll be watching to see if that closes the week out and can Bitcoin break the downtrend. Good chance Bitcoin's going to try to do it, but right now we're getting a topping tail at the trend line. We still have blue bars and a green cloud. We're still above the 10-period moving average. So again, if it can remain green, we need a breakout. We might pull back and get a higher low first. We're watching to see how it unfolds. But if we break out, you got to see the oscillator go into the positive region. It's just negative here. Turn back down, and we end up coming back and getting a higher low or another reference point of a divergence. I again, don't think that's likely going to be the case. We're bouncing at key support, as I've talked about. Again, we could pull back and build momentum and get a higher low, or again, if we go sideways, you can just try to bust on through it. But right now, we tried to break out. We tried to break out with the Tuesday session, and it failed. I'll show you in a moment, but you can see it here with Bitcoin futures with the little topping tail there, a rally, and then it reversed, ended up down. We still have a blue bar reflecting the momentum, but we need to see more. We need to get above the 50. We need to get in positive territory here with the oscillator and the MACD. Even though we had a failed breakout at least so far, still have positive things going on here. We still have green bars. We're in the positive region of the cloud. We've stalled up the trend line of resistance, but momentum turned back to bullish here. Now we're starting to see a possible change in trend. Now notice right here, when we started moving into the negative region of the cloud, we went into the negative region and we remained there up until right now. So we're going back into the positive region. We're getting green bars, and we're also seeing the oscillator go into the positive region. So again, we could see a breakout in the coming days ahead. You might get a bigger pullback, but I think the low has a pretty good shot of being put in here. But some positive things happening with the oscillators going into the positive region. Now here today, we had this rally. My bar here, it had started to turn green. And we started to get the oscillator going in positive territory, and then we had the sell-off. We ended down 1% and gave back the 2% rally, and it ended going right back into negative. We still have the bullish diversions here, and again, you had a bullish diversions right there, and then you've got another one right here, this larger diversions. We got to see the oscillator go into positive territory. The bars have to flip back to green. You got to break the trend line. It's likely going to be the breaking of the trend line that turns a lot of my signals back to bullish. Absolutely amazing signals here, nailing the entire downtrend. When it ends, the oscillator is going to go back in positive territory. We'll flip the bars back to blue. The line will turn higher with this cloud, and it will be green. like it was back over here and with this final push higher. So this is what needs to happen if this is going to end. And I warned you about these bottoming signals when they formed. I warned you we had all these bottoming signals. Told you we need to see the momentum signals turn back to bullish. Well, we're now seeing momentum turn back to bullish here. Now we got to see the trend signals begin to flip, and that's really going to be when we flip this cloud back to green right here. The line starting to turn back to green, and we start seeing green like we did back over here as we're forming the top. And again, I told you we had a signal very similar to the top that formed over here, little miniature double bottom there on the 4-hour time frame. Absolutely amazing signals. Again, I got a lot of bottoming signals. Now momentum shift. Now we need to see the trend signals turn. To do that, I think that Bitcoin will be breaking out of a bull flag, this bull flag right here, that will end up taking us back above 100,000. I think Bitcoin's going to go above 150,000, go to 160, maybe 170 if we take our sweet time getting to my trend line. I've talked about it at great length of detail in my last update. It's my target, not a number, not a date, my trend line, and depending on when we reach it, Bitcoin so quickly, it'll be a lower target. If it reaches it higher, longer, it would be a higher target. Now seeing some of my signals begin to turn back to bullish here. Here's the line turning back to blue. The background's turning back to green. The bars are turning green right here. It's very, very sensitive to turns. Oftentimes, again, I'll get an early warning here, but that could create sideways movement as well. Again, we got the green bars over here, and then they turn back to red, and we've gone sideways with this potential double bottom. Got to be able to clear the confirmation line directly overhead in order to turn it around, and that would give us a breakout of the downward trend line. When this is over, my signals are going to tell me exactly when it ends, and that's going to be probably the breaking of the trend line, because you're going to get a bunch of my signals flipping back to bullish. Here, we're getting an early warning that might be in the not too distant future. This is very, very sensitive, possibly giving us an early warning or more of a sideways if we pull back a little bit, just going back and forth. But this signal right here, if it's a reversal and we break out and we get the double bottom confirmation, it can lead to something like what we had over here. Signals did a really good job of marking the December top. The very day after we peaked, the reversal happened, and over here shortly thereafter, again, that's when we hit those trend lines of resistance in the weekly time frame, and that's why I was able to call the very day of both of those tops because of that trend line in the weekly time frame. I talked about it at great length and detail. If we do have a bottom in and we start aggressively moving higher, again, if we go back here, I'd be looking for a move that looks something like this, where again the signal could be marking a reversal right now. You can get the breakout I'm looking for, and then the run up. That absolutely incredible move, calling it and then just nailing the top. Isn't that unbelievable? Because I have good indicators, proven to be correct 97.1% of the time. Now I zoomed out to show you how incredible my indicators are, how incredible this indicator. Most of the indicators you see in my videos I've created myself. But I want to show you again, if we are getting the turn here, we do get the breakout. Again, we could be in for a breathtaking rally, just a spectacular rise on Bitcoin. So this could be a early warning sign. If it turns back to bearish, you're going sideways. But I've got signals turning back to bullish. Here we've got the green bars. We've got the cloud turning back to bullish. You got to get that breakout, though. Got to get back above that 200 to turn around. We're on a bullish signal with the bars being green. They got to remain green. Again, red, green, really just showing this sideways move of really potentially a double bottom pattern. If we get a breakout, again, we could see a trending move like we had the downward trending move here, the upward trending move over here. Looking for a trending move. Right now we're going sideways. The signals are going back and forth. We need a breakout to start a trending move. Now, positive things right here. Got the line moving back to blue from red to blue. Now the ribbon is moving back to green, and the cloud is moving back to green. So got some positive things going on here, but got to break that downward trend line. Got to get back above the 200 period moving average. It caught the downward trend. It caught the upward trend. Will it catch this next upward move here? Signals telling us we're either going sideways or up now. So again, we'll be watching to see if we can get a breakout this week or not. Live it, love it, learn it. Again, we had some bottoming signals here, just like what we had over here and over here, but topping signals over here at the December and January high. We've seen momentum shift. Got to break the downward trend line. Bars have turned back to green. Momentum's turned back to green. Got to break the downward trend line. Momentum trying to turn, a little green there. Still got the red bars. Got to be able to break the black line. The black line acts as support, and the ribbon, this ribbon right here, is resistance. These levels are resistance. Go higher, they act as major support. But you got to be able to clear this and turn it around. Get rid of all the red. If we break the downward trend line, we're likely going to see all my signals begin to turn back to bullish, and we'll begin the new uptrend, confirming a double bottom pattern, and Bitcoin's going to rip higher. My signals, which are correct, are going to tell me exactly when that happens, and you're going to see all my trend signals begin to turn bullish, and it's going to be when we break that downward trend line. Again, signals going from red back to bullish, back to bearish, red to blue and green here to red, and then back and forth, really just showing we're going sideways. So you got to have the blue here and the green line, you got to have it remain bullish by breaking that downward trend line. Now, here, the cloud's trying to turn back to bullish. It tried over here and it failed. It tried over here and it failed. It's been consistently bearish through the decline. If it can remain bullish, we can build momentum to break out. If it goes back to negative, again, you're going sideways. It's got to be confirmed by the oscillator going into positive territory. So far, it's not. Had this turn right here. Things went bearish with the downward trend right here with the cloud. We went into the negative region, and then we remained there, and we're still there. So again, the risk is that we get a confirmation, a deeper pullback for confirmation of a higher lower. The risk is that we take out 74,000. If you do, you better not stay below it, as I've said. But again, my guess is that Bitcoin is likely bottomed. You get a pullback here, whether a consolidation sideways or whether something deeper. We'll see what happens. You got to be able to get turning all back to bullish here. The cloud's bullish, but we're pulling back here. Risk is it flips back to bearish. My guiding light indicator, again, you got the green bars. You've got the bullish reversal signal happening, but you got to be able to clear the trend line and be able to flip the ribbon back to yellow, back to bullish, to be the guiding light. Times of confusion and doubt. I pointed out the last time, I've already pointed this out, the last time we got the bullish signal was over here, and then it was with the pullback to the ribbon, and this happened. You have this massive run up. I think you're going to see the same thing here, and we've got the bullish things going on here. Get the breakout of that downward trend line. We'll see if that happens this week. Risk of a bigger pullback. My guess is we've bottomed, but there's still risk of a bigger pullback. The bottoming signals, we got momentum signals turning bullish. We got to see the trend signals turning bullish, and that would be, again, here, the ribbon turning back to yellow. Got to see the red go away and things turn back to bullish. Again, I am getting signals with bullish signals. Tried to flip it right here with this move. It failed. We came down, made a new low, but then the cloud remained bullish, and we got bullish bottoming signals right here. Trying to flip momentum right now. You got to break that downward trend line, and at the moment, we're trying to turn the line back to blue. Got the green background. Could some of my signals be giving early warning signs here that we're about to get this breakout, that we're about to get this push higher? Things flip back to bearish. Again, you're going sideways for an even longer period of time. But the signals here have done a good job of marking the reversals. And marked the top over here, reaffirmed the lower high, then we turn back up and got a bearish signal here and got some bearish signals as we've had the counter trends. We're getting these bullish signals, so we'll see if we can get that breakout. Here's my maestro. A bar's still red here, but momentum's turned back to bullish. They got to both be bullish. You got to have green bars and a blue line. Breakout will likely do that. Now, with the rally we had, the 2% rally, we tried to break the downward trend line. The signal here tried to turn back to bullish with the Tuesday session. It failed. We got that topping tail, so the risk is we get a bigger pullback. Right now, it's trying it again. It's trying to turn bullish here. You got to flip the cloud. You got to flip the line here to both be bullish. The lines turn bullish, but we've got to flip the cloud. And again, breaking the downward trend line would likely do that. So absolutely amazing signals again, calling the downward trend line. I'm sorry, calling the downward trend and then now going sideways. Again, looking for a trending move once we get a breakout. And a trending move that will just have everything green. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. When all these trending signals start turning back to bullish, and we could be getting it right here, right now, when we start seeing the trending signals all begin back to turn back to bullish, Bitcoin's going to go into the 90,000 range, then eventually go up into the 90,000 range, pull back, then build momentum, and we're going to go back above 100,000, eventually back above 109,000, the January peak.